Good morning, it's
Yep.
Monday. I tell you what, Senior Bright, you've been missed.
I was. I went back to my roots.
Yeah, how's the witch hunting?
Great. The film order is great. The guys in Navrongo, the guys in Bongo, the guys in Y, exciting, really exciting. Look, they love you guys. I don't know.
We love them
I
right
made
back.
a promise on behalf of our editor-in-chief that I'm going to bring you people there. So I told them we'll hold the show there. I did in the name of Mr. Joseph Warungu. I don't know how he will take it, but Mia had made a promise. He
has to deliver.
Yes, he has to deliver. Great stuff up there. Really exciting.
But I think it's a good idea to try and go out there, meet the people who love us, so we also show the love we have for them. I mean, it's something we can easily do. We're willing to move up north,
to have you
so
back,
we'll do that.
You know that missions is
and I hope when I was away, none of you used my name in any way.
But you know your name will be used. When you go witch hunting and we can feel the atmosphere change, we have to ask how you're doing.
Your name is bad. We can't spoil your bad name.
Okay, all right. Okay,
it's all fine.
Great to know.
So,
yeah. But it's good to have you back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Talented Kids is ended as well.
It has, on some sadness and some goodness. But I mean, overall, talents have come out. I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is to teach these children that whatever it is, wherever, I mean, this is life.
Right.
No matter how far you reach, you're still a winner. Just the fact that you were selected out of the many people who came to audition and you at least went as far as the finals, I mean, it means something about you. Yeah. You're great. Don't go out there disappointed that you didn't emerge the winner. Yeah. At the end of the day, you have a talent which you can harness and grow, and you're good out there.
I'm looking at the after effects. We now have child prodigies. How do we manage them from this point? And we have seen other children who came up strongly with a lot of talent. And what happened? So I'm looking at that. Beyond talented kids,
where do they go?
Where do they go? The parents themselves. As a country, do we pick up from there and say this is real talent that we can use? We always say that tourism and entertainment is the fourth highest earner. How do we fix them into it so that the nation benefits, they benefit, everybody else benefits?
And making sure that now they do what they're doing, and also make sure that they stay and do well in school. Because sometimes if you're not careful, if you go into show business, you're likely to be swayed into thinking that it's all about.
It's true. I like the way DJ Switch has been handled.
Exactly.
She's still consistent in school, and she's still dazzled with a lot of brilliance on stage. I love the way
the show is growing. I didn't know the very first episode, and what I saw yesterday on stage, quite exciting. I think it's really growing. Maybe you should try and look at the talented West Africa.
Look, probably it's feasible.
Some of the talents I saw, not just yesterday, amazing. If you play the guitar and you do finger works and you see what Penel Dodu was doing, that's crazy. Then you see the small guys flipping and going around and they were not scared.
No. I used to do that when I was a kid. I used to do that very well.
Hey, as for Bright and the things you've done. That dance championship tape you promised us ever since 1982. We haven't seen it.
My bones got stiff.
But you see,
but when we tell you your bones have gone stiff, you never agree. Last time you promised to dance and people were not amused with that dance you put up.
No, but he's older. You see, but none of his mates like Ajete Sowa and all, they all say they don't know him. They didn't see him.
Because at that point, I was at a higher level, and so they couldn't have gotten closer to me, obviously. So they could see me from afar, and so ask Anthony Taxi. He knows me a lot when those things.
But how could Anthony have been born when you were you?
Maybe he read about it.
When he calls you grandpa, exactly. Ancient of days.
He read about it.
Probably. It's in the history book somewhere.
History of Africa. Bright was like in chapter 3.
Walter Rodney.
I can do everything.
And John
Through Christ strengthens you. But AJ, you got all the news for us.
Yes,
Take it away.
Oh, you're smiling.
I always smile.
Yes, beautiful smile.
Anthony, let me tell you, the number of lovers Amma has in Navrongo. There's one guy, Oga George. I'm sure he's watching.
Oga George.
Oga George. And then in Wa, amazing.
Hot King.
IB radio progress. He loves Amma so much. He's been talking about her.
Johnny, this is where we talk about the cake the smashing.
Please, we are not smashing anything today.
The cake smashing issues. Well, the news will be coming up shortly, right after this. Hello and good morning. My name is Anthony Jackson and this is NewDay News. The Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists says members will from Monday, May 28th, withdraw all of their services across the country. Their services include blood banking and transfusion, surveys and surveillance support. The action by members of the association is in protest against salary discrepancies for about 6 years after the introduction of the single spine pay policy. The medical laboratory scientists partially withdrew some services on Monday, May 21, but a statement signed by the president of the association, Dr. Ignatius Awini Bonu, stated it has altered its roadmap following alleged life-threatening intimidation from some medical superintendents and directors. The association alleged some medical superintendents and directors have asked unlicensed personnel to operate laboratories in their absence, which is illegal and expose patients to serious health risk. There will be updates on this story as the show goes on. Now, the police in Kumasi have begun investigations into the alleged murder of a 16-year-old final student of the Tafo Methodist Junior High School. Isaac Akon was stabbed to death after he was allegedly attacked by 4 armed men on Saturday evening.
It is unclear what may have triggered the attack by the unknown persons. The attackers reportedly subjected Isaac to severe beatings and later stabbed him in the ribs. He was rushed to the Tafo Government Hospital but was later pronounced dead. The body of the deceased has been deposited at the mortuary for preservation and autopsy. Earlier this month, a final year senior high school student of Osei Senior High School, also in the Tafo Pankroni municipality, was stabbed to death by some unknown persons. The deceased, who was identified as 19-year-old Godfred Arthur, was stabbed in the neck after the armed persons stormed the school around midnight in what many said was a robbery attack. The police, however, arrested 2 persons suspected to have been involved in the crime to assist in investigations.
Now let's head over to Ablekuma Central, where Daniel Tete Oklu reports residents of Flamingo were not spared by Sunday morning's rains as most parts of the community were flooded.
The downpour, which lasted less than an hour, caused flooding. A resident, Emmanuel Nate, who has lived at Flamingo, Ablekuma Central for the past 40 years, lamented the situation keeps getting worse.
They've directed all the link gutters to the main storm drain, to which there's no drain there. You see, so in fact, it's a problem. It's a problem. We don't know what to do. This Blazana has been with residents at Mataheku, precisely where we have the valley. I presume he's supposed to know, because before the election, he came around saying that he has stayed with us all this while in the mud. So he's supposed, if we vote for him, he will see to rectify the situation for us. Now, 2 years down the line, now, you know, this time it's worse.
Another resident, Reginald, blamed the constant flooding in the community on inadequate drains.
All the drains have been connected into this lower part. And if that happens, we happen to be suffering because we happen to be in the lower side of both Sukura and then Mataheko JT.
Some homes had been engulfed with plastic and other waste materials carried by the rain. The flood was severe in this area, but residents were lucky the flood waters did not enter their rooms. Like other residents, Pa Kumani called for support from the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central, Ebenezer Gilbert Ni Nanate, the Assembly and Government.
I want to tell the MP to work on the drains in order for the rainwater to flow through, because every time it rains, the whole place becomes flooded.
The constant flooding in several parts of Accra raises questions about past and present government commitment to address the problem, which has become perennial.
Now, the environmental Protection Agency has cautioned against the consumption of fruit and vegetables immediately after purchasing from the market. The Director of Chemicals and Registrar of Pesticides of the Environmental Protection Agency, who gave the warning at an outreach program in Accra, said some fruits and vegetables contain traces of poisonous substances after the application of chemicals by farmers.
According to Dr. Sam Edukumi, investigations conducted by the EPA show that many farmers and food vendors are violating the safety standards for production and packaging. This means that Ghanaians are consuming large amounts of fruit and vegetables which contain poisonous chemicals and substances. He stressed the need for farmers to comply with a 10-day rule, which is the waiting period after spraying pesticides and growth-enhancing chemicals to produce before sending it to the market.
For every produce where chemical have been applied, because something a pre-harvest interval, that means that you have to observe at least 10 days after you have sprayed before you harvest. Okay, for that time period is enough to break the residual amounts of chemicals on the crop or on the fruit. Okay, but most times it may not be observed because of the nature of marketing. So if in the first place, if the market, those who are even going to buy, they know that they should ask questions, have you really observed this interval of 10 days? It will be helpful.
Dr. Edukumi advised against consuming fruits and vegetables immediately after purchasing from the market.
Make sure you wash your food or fruits copiously with water. At least it will take away a lot of the residues on the surface. If for vegetables like tomatoes and also even cabbage, before you eat or you cook, remove the outer cover. That means it will bring the residues, if there are, to a barest minimum. And then the cabbages, once you remove the outer cover, it means that the inner one may contain some few amount of chemical. I'm not saying it will be free unless you don't use chemical at all. But then these are simple measures that one can ensure to at least make sure that you are eating well.
The event was the biennial district meeting of officers of the Grand Ladies Auxiliary Night of St. John. First Vice President of the Accra East Grand Ladies Auxiliary, Felicia Klu, noted the group will continue to organize similar outreach programs.
Every now and then we find those who do vegetable farming employing things that will make their products look good and realize bumper harvest. As a group, we will go out there to influence our communities in which we live, the church community.
This year's meeting was under the theme, Imbibing Respect from the Church, Community and the Environment, the Role of the Lady Night.
Now, a sword cutting ceremony for the construction of a monument will be held on Tuesday, May 29, to commemorate the first anniversary of the death of Major Maxwell Mahama, but at New Obuasi, otherwise referred to as Dentro Obuasi. Residents are hopeful no such memorial would be erected in the town. They express fear of being haunted by the unfortunate incidents which led to the death of the soldier. Komla Kluche has the following report.
An early morning, but the village center of New Obuasi is already buzzing with activity before the locals leave for their farm. For Murphy seizes the opportunity to sell donuts, which she has done for almost 2 decades. 60-year-old retired soldier Isaka Suleiman is up from bed and readies himself for the farm.
Isaka, tell me, you have 3 wives.
And the senior one is a seamstress. The one for them, the seamstress, is a hairdresser. And the third one is a nurse.
You are a big man, you are a big man.
We began a journey of 20 miles into his 2-acre farm. Saka narrates where he was on the day Major Mahama was killed.
The whole town was empty. I was left alone with my junior sister in the house. I made my families to leave to Dunkwao. But then...
How did you survive yourself?
Okay, I was always in the room. I don't come out. I come out once in a while.
But did they meet you? When the soldiers came, did they meet you?
They meet me. They meet me, they told me to be in the room. And if anything, I cook in the room, eat in the room there, urinate in the room there. So it wasn't easy.
A death that shook the nation, with a battalion of soldiers and police storming the otherwise unknown town of Dintra-Obuasi, always called New Obuasi. The accused persons are still on trial, and there are calls from some quarters from the military who will not go on record demanding the erection of a statue in remembrance of the slain soldier.
The statue being there, to me, is very, very good. So anytime, even their grandchildren should come out, they should deliver, and then come to the town. They will know that, yes, my old man has done this before.
Please leave us alone. We are afraid. Our children will even run when they see it. Fear has gripped us. The events linger on. Erecting a statue, that is pressure on us.
With
the statue, you recall the body. When we see his body, fear will grip us. This is the spot where Major Mahama died.
He finally gave up his life somewhere around this point, exact location in the gutter here where he lost his life. There's been talk about the erection of a monument of the sort, but there's been a divided opinion on it as to whether the family will agree or not. It's 1 year that has not been decided yet, but members of the community, some say it is not necessary because the memory still lives on or still lingers on, and they think that the matter should die its natural death, in as much as it is in court now for judgment yet to be given. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, New Obuasi.
Now, meanwhile, one of the acquitted and discharged persons in the Major Maxwell Mahama murder trial, Efiamenu, narrates her ordeal after spending 3 months in police cells. She spoke to Komla Kluche.
At 30, Ifya assists her mother, who operates a chop bar in the town.
I can't tell who did what. They said I look like the lady who lit the matches. The scars on my body tells how I was treated.
Ifya Menu says she has spent her entire life in the town and narrates her ordeal on the fateful day. She was one of those arrested in connection with the murder of Major Maxwell Mahama and regrets that fateful day.
Last prayer.
They said if I don't tell the truth, they will kill me. The Lord's Prayer was my only hope. It was then they saw the mark on my arm and compared.
Emotionally drained, the moment of May 29 still stare her in the face.
Free cells no buy a chrome half on Omoje was saying.
The chrome ya from body man, yes, and Bangam and Commodom Star. Omodomia Cassa.
I was hardly accepted by my community, who showed me love with tears flowing.
Kofi Bedu was caught up in a swoop by a combined team of army and police personnel on May 30, a day after Major Maxwell Mahama was killed. In hindsight, his memory of that fateful day still haunts him.
Nyankopon adawroma me de me nipadua no ba ye na mani age. Se sa tebia no.
Thank God I came back alive. I was not involved in the lynching. Back in Ifiamenu's home, the family says the stigma and negative reportage of events on that fateful day in the town of New Obuasi unfortunately has affected them, but will not deter them from offering love to the suspects who they believe are innocent.
Ye bedroom kwanta no nam ka che driver ni say mesia president Chabwase also president Chabwase that means.
When I was returning, the bus driver refused to stop in the town for me over stigma. I persisted until he budged.
And I'm saying abu ba ya wutu kan no fa wiem ni na Chabwase no ma na wutu kan no fa mesi wo to hwe na mbo afu no si me ama ade anesisi akra ne say wutu kwan ekọ baabi kura ne ye dey ye pam wo foka na sa wotika ma ensem ayeka no.
The stigma is so high. If you are not patient, you always engage in a free for all fight.
Da bia wo bekon awoka na we nyina echi no ene ya ha no mo for say ye tika na say ye kura yentumi enya dey yenka bi.
But as heart-wrenching as these stories of the acquitted and discharged suspects are, the community is not giving up on them. These experiences, quite emotional as they are, for one thing, she's resolved that it will not deter her from doing what she's been doing. She has never been engaged in any form of brutality or crime, but she'll continue to serve people that she serves as a trader and will remain a trader for the rest of her life. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, New Obuasi.
Now, squatters at Kaokudi Brigade in Accra are pleading with the government for an extension of the 1-month ultimatum given to them to vacate their current location. Government intends to prepare the place for the relocation of the Accra Arts Center to make way for the Marine Drive project.
Right next to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is arguably the tourist hub of Ghana. The Center for National Culture, popularly referred to as the Art Center. It has got everything from woven kente cloth, sculptures to fashion accessories. In fact, it has art and craft from all over Ghana. From their old location close to the Accra High Court, the Art Center has been at its current location for close to 40 years and has attracted a lot of high-profile personalities, including presidents from other nations.
Former American Presidents George Bush and Bill Clinton, as well as the King of Morocco, His Majesty King Mohammed, who spent $10,000, have all been here.
Spending over $10,000 at our art center.
Each of the over 1,000 shop owners here pay an annual rent of 204 cedis to government. We could go on and on and on with the creativity and beauty that exists here at the Accra Art Center. But in some few months to come, patrons may no longer be able to locate the art center at this particular location, as there are plans by government to relocate the art center to Kaokudi. The relocation is to make way for government Marine Drive project along the beach. Work on the project has gotten very close to the art center, putting pressure on the traders.
In
a meeting with the consultant, we expressed our fear, but he assured us that they will not move us till Kaokudi is ready for relocation.
This slum community, Kaokudi Brigade, is expected to be the new location for the art center. Residents here admit being engaged on few occasions by government to vacate the area for the relocation of the art center, but are asking for more days.
Most of us are seriously searching for a new place, but we haven't gotten any yet.
Residents here were first informed about the relocation 2 years ago, but did not attach much prominence to the notice.
Serious, but
We took the warning serious, but they did not show up again. So we were thinking that this time they give us about 6 months' notice to move. We observed the deadline by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly for residents here to relocate had expired. The squatters, some of whom have stayed close to 10 years, have up to the end of this month to relocate. The traders at Art Center fear not all of them would be accommodated here due to the small land size.
We made this land what it is today. We are not against the Marine Drive project, but government should ensure that we all get shops in the Marine Drive.
The Marine Drive project has space for an art center, but until then, traders would have to make do with a temporary one here. Kwabna Edu JV, TV3, Accra.
That's it for the news for this morning. NewDay returns shortly after the break.
Welcome back. Front pages now. The Ghanaian Times says Ghana implements ITLO's ruling to restore investor confidence in the oil sector. And JHS students stabbed to death in Kumasi. 41 suspected criminals rounded up in Accra. And CID gets clearance to interrogate Cabo today. Anthony Cabo is Deputy Roads and Highways Minister, who we're told was mentioned in the ANAS number 12 video. They've sought clearance from Parliament to interrogate him. BNFT says rate of employment slows down in March, and illegal fishing ripping sector apart causes massive downturn there. T-bills rate decline turn to real estates. Expert is alerting all of us there as the situation takes a downturn effect there. On to our next newspaper for this morning. The Daily Graphic reports that ANAS to report Kwesi Nyantakyi to FIFA and embrace NAPCO program. Government studying Yaya Jammeh's case, Abdul Hamid, Minister for Information, says so. And Africa Rising reloaded advertising industry to converge in Accra. And Ghana card registration takes off. Greater Accra first beneficiary region. Yes, those are the front pages of the Daily Graphic for this morning, the 28th of May, 2018. The Finder reports that 141,332 chase NAPCO jobs. 32,060 applicants yet to submit application as Friday, June 1 deadline approaches. Comes with a photo of Dr. Nyas Ibrahim, is the coordinator of NAPCO. And Ghana Water Company Limited workers battle board over directives. And Ghana requires 8% economic growth for 10 to 15 years. Dr. Yamsing, 968 robbery-related cases recorded in the first quarter. And Asila calls for investigative journalism fanned. Those are the stories there on the front page of the Finder. The Daily Guide screaming headline says Kwesi Botwe enters NDC race. Imani in bed with telcos, PNF alleges, and Army sacked 17 recruits. It comes with a photo of a CDS and EC boss missing in court. Why? We'll tell you more about it. But thank you. Those are the front pages stories that we have.
Okay, great
Senior Bright.
Let me greet one of my DCs, the Bongo DC is watching us.
Oh, okay.
Honorable Peter Imbisi. Good morning. Hope you're doing great. We're back in Accra.
Yeah.
I'm sure your people are doing well too. We'll get into you later.
The next time we're tagging along. So.
Yeah,
yes.
But the Daily Graphic says Ghana card registration takes off. Greater Accra will be the first beneficiary region. We're looking forward to that. I saw them roll out a number of places where they'll be centered so people could easily have access. But I think the education has to still be ongoing because the documents you're even supposed to present to be able to access this, we know most people, most Ghanaians don't have them, such as the birth certificate. So as the education, NCA should even take it up at this point and also educate people on how to even get a birth certificate, how to go through the process, because we've had many times where people get there and and people give them charges that are not the appropriate charges for, say, trying to acquire a birth certificate or a passport. So right now, where the craze will be there for everyone to get this, to be able to access the card, then the education has to be very intensified so people go through the right channels, get it right, and then, you know, we can all have a card.
I'm looking at the NCC performing its statutory duty of informing the public. Over the weekend, I've had people send me messages. They want to know if they can use their birth certificate or a passport, whichever it is, and if they don't have any of these, what can they do? Okay, and I thought that the NCCE would do. I've seen the National Identification Authority put out some videos on YouTube to educate the public. But I expected that if you put up such a video, you would sponsor it at least to make it go viral a bit, so a lot more people can get it on social media and the rest. I have not seen that.
But again, how many of the people in the villages will have access to these YouTube
the point is
videos that they're making?
The point is
that's why NCC, which is widely distributed, has to take on this role
actively. The point
actively.
is that if I get to see it, just as because I know what it is, the people who called me, I'm able to give them information. So at least in every family, there's one educated person who has a WhatsApp phone, who can surf the internet, go on YouTube. If that person has access to the information, the chances that he would relay the information to other members of the family is very high. We can't depend on that alone anyway, but I'm saying that it will go a very long way to help us. Because in this day and age when social media is rife, you can't say you're cutting that out. It doesn't work. Number two, I'm looking at, we spent close to $120 million in the last time trying to get the Ghana card underway. Now we're spending 1.2 billion, okay? And nobody is telling us why that 120, nearly 120, maybe 115, it didn't work, why the increase this time around, and what we did wrong then, if we have done an assessment and whether we had cleared all those bottlenecks to be able to flow smoothly. We're just excited about the fact that we're starting today from the presidency through parliament, the judiciary and all of that. But it is the politician's dream and the taxpayer's burden. At the end of the day, we will have to pay for it. What if this one also hits a snag? What happens to it? Just like the other one hit a snag. Because I continue to say, I had my Ghana card, but it was useless. When I take it to the bank would tell me, my bank told me that, look, it's not synchronized, you can't use it. So you have the card, but it's useless.
Johnny, it's a good thing. We've all been waiting for it. But I would want to ask a few questions. Why is Greater Accra always getting the chance to start these things? What is the rationale behind? Is it simply because it is the region that hosts the seat of government?
I would want to believe so.
That's Professor Kenatifo explained to Alfred, and in fact I got Mr. Anda as well. He confirmed that it was happening today. He said that we'll start from the presidency and then we'll go to the legislature, that's parliament, and then we'll go to the judiciary, and then we'll look at institutions, security installations as well.
So that is the reason why Greater Accra gets that.
Exactly, because we're on a centralized,
because you see, we have always tried to decentralize, and I am thinking that, for me, if these things are to be done, can't we start from somewhere else? And if you read a story in the Daily Graphic, Greater Accra, I'm told, the team is spending 3 months. The other regions, Ashanti region, the team spends 2 months. In some other regions, it is 1 month. What is the reason? Transportation is easier, the roads are better in Greater Accra. So why 3 months? Ashanti region is quite huge compared to the size. The northern region is also huge. Roads are bad. I tell you, by the time they get to certain parts of the 3 northern regions, the upper east, upper west, and north, some places cannot be accessed because it has started raining. So why spend 1 month there? Is there not going to be a problem? Because, look, I just returned from there. We went to a village in the morning at about 9 o'clock. When we were returning, the river was full, so we had to wait for 2 hours for the river to go down. Okay, so let's hope that all these will be taken into consideration.
I think Senior Bright, though, that if you look at Accra, we're told it's a cosmopolitan city where people come, the influx of people from other regions into Accra on a daily basis, balloons.
So the population is bigger?
It becomes big, just like you went to the village, you're coming back, the river is full. That's how Accra is. By day it's full, by night people leave. So I'm thinking that because this is not restrictive, they would want to give people, as many people, a chance to be able to register in Accra.
I see.
No, but that's where I agree with Bryce. You raise it. I know that certainly may be the point, but I think I agree with Bryce when he says for a place like the North, where maybe we're looking at population, and that's why they'll give them 1 month. But when you look at the logistics and some of the realities on the ground, that 1 month you may not be able to capture everyone that you're looking at.
Has a huge population as well.
It does.
But it's just that the spatial settlement is a bit shaky. Yeah. But it has a huge population. Check the records.
Yeah, because it takes, look, there's a district in Upper West, it takes 4 hours to drive from one end to the other. Right. So when you drive from one end to the other, 4 hours, you're coming back another 4 hours. So it takes you the whole day. Okay, so I'm wondering, now if you find yourself there, how are you able to move logistics so that you settle well down enough to start the registration?
I think that
within 1 month, this can be completed.
I doubt the duration is enough. But then they have also
1 month for some regions.
I mean, but they have also explained that they have, if you will, mobile vans that will go around. So they have a little over 1,200 spots. Right. I am thinking that if they are done with Accra, and maybe they leave, say, 200 or 250 here to do mop-up, they move the rest, let's say 1,000, units,
and send them to the other region.
I'm thinking if they do that, but even that, you see, even the national immunization days, know this, I did that for 5 years. Sometimes you are done doing the job, and then even the mop-up takes up about 40% because there were people who were not just available at the time. You were thinking that people go to Burkina Faso, they go to Mali to go and bring tomatoes, onions, and the rest. We need to really rethink this. But I like the concept.
So it is not a district or constituency thing, and that I can register anywhere in Ghana.
I can't say that for a fact. They will have to come and
explain. They have to explain. So there are still some questions
we don't restrict people to... so that I can move from Ablekuma constituency to, let's say,
Wekakwe or somewhere.
So I'll be restricted. I think it will make the work faster and easier. So that if I have a birth certificate and I find myself even in Kumasi during the period, I can quickly go anywhere and get registered.
But then, right, on the reverse, you know that a gentleman was caught with 3 passports.
And you know passport is one of the key
the base document to get a passport is to get a birth certificate. Okay, right. So it tells us that we can get foreigners go and get birth certificates, acquire passports, and find themselves onto our national register, which means they are not paying taxes, but they will be benefiting everything that will be benefiting. And this is why I expect the security operatives to be very vigilant. We're going to use biometrics, yes, but is it not true also that it is this same biometrics that were used that somebody had a chance to get three passports? And I don't know what's happened to that particular matter, but you remember that matter?
Yeah, we
3
do.
passports.
Yeah. So
Johnny, it's easier for people now to acquire birth certificates. They just walk up. They were told the Goro boys, you pay them and you get it.
So the required card or the required ID is a birth certificate, a valid passport, a valid residence permit, and a valid certificate of acquired citizenship, and then any other information as the NIA would require. I would always want to go back to my village, and I can tell you that my grandmother doesn't have a birth certificate.
Right.
She doesn't have. And I can tell you in that house, almost all the elderly people there, they don't have it. So they need to go acquire that first.
Do they vote if they have a voter ID card?
Well, but in the story put up by the Daily Graphic, a voter ID card is not one of the valid cards required. So then I think that a lot more explanation will have to be done, because if we rely solely on this birth cert thing, a lot of people will end up not getting this card.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's where, I mean, right from beginning, you need to look at the thing holistically. Yeah. If we had gotten to a system where right when you're giving birth to, you enter a system, your name is there, and then you're giving the birth certificate. When you're of age, you get the passport, and it moves on and on. Then we're sure that everyone who's going to acquire this Ghana card is a Ghanaian.
Really
but until then, where you're coming with documentation which cannot be verified through any means or any process, we'll still have infiltration of foreigners.
The major problem is the fact Bright travels a lot into when I used to do a bit of rural reporting, you get to the villages, not every, pregnant mother goes to the hospital.
No, to
Some
deliver.
don't go for antenatal.
No,
They don't go. I mean, they have their own native doctors who do, the CS and everything for them. They do it at home.
Right.
So those births may not necessarily find their way
recorded.
into the register. And that's what we need to mop up.
Exactly.
And that's why I think that we have the community health nurses and the public health nurses. They're supposed to be getting into the villages, into the corners where we can go, bring us information and tell us that, look, I have seen A, B, C, D here. Let's try to regularize them so we can solve all the problems.
But John,
we have over
because I
11,000
think
health
there are pretty
officials.
much a lot of community health nurses who go into the system to try and capture these, women who don't give birth in hospitals. But again, if right from scratch we had come up with that system, even if you didn't give birth in the hospital, within a week of delivering, you're supposed to present your child. That is what the health statistic, that's how the health workers would advise you to do. Within a week, just present your child so they even get the vaccination and whatever they missed because it was a home delivery. If the mother knew that when I do this, my child has automatic access to get a birth cert, to get a passport, I think many other women will be encouraged to do that. But when there's no incentive, at the end of the day, when you capture me into your system, what happens to me? Then
when I was a child, and each time I went to the hospital, you find a community health nurse, at the OPD, come and tell you about some of these things.
Right.
Do they still do it?
Yeah, they do.
They do it.
They do. Although their numbers are
do you remember? You go to the hospital and they come and talk about malaria, typhoid. They spend like 10 minutes.
I think they call it the child welfare clinic.
Yes.
Okay.
Even apart from the child welfare clinic, now we've got community health nurses integrated into the OPD system, so they educate you before you actually see a doctor and all that. So it still goes on.
It works, or it's gone down?
It's gone down. I'm sure it's the numbers, the people they employ.
Because growing up, I used to Kaneshi Polyclinic, they'll teach you how to even, use a sponge to brush your teeth.
Exactly. How to even bath.
Exactly.
What kind of soap to use.
Shave
everything used to be talked about.
We don't get it anymore. So then you're wondering, the community health nurse, what is their focus? Because we won't be having this kind of conversation if we had all of them, over 11,000 of them, doing the work that they had to do.
Pretty much. If we also wouldn't have this if the government was employing them the way they should and equipping them the way they should. It's a ripple effect of all the things that will happen.
We're told 141,000 is a figure, perhaps as of today.
And about a little over 1,000 have been able to go through the process.
The unfortunate issue is that 32,000 are yet to submit applications. Today is 29th. Between today and Friday. Today and Thursday?
Yes.
Friday is first true.
Yes.
Friday. To do that.
Present all the documents.
So, and why haven't they submitted the application?
I don't know.
Maybe they are having issues. I hear the internet. But an issue for them.
Look
most
at the number,
people.
141,000. The last time, in one of the dailies, it says that we will give. The government says it will give priority to NAPCO applicants.
Right.
So I was asking a question. There are nurses and teachers and all doctors and everything else with a backlog from 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. If we're going to give priority to NAPCO, what happens to them? Those who have been given financial.
Teachers on board this program.
I don't know.
But the nurses are.
I don't know. Yes, I know. But so
I would want to believe teachers are there.
If they have been given,
if
they have been
if you're a graduate teacher, okay, so you can apply.
So if they have been given
graduates
financial clearance.
Okay.
If they have been given financial clearance from 2013 all to 2017, and they may not become the priority. Where is it? Unless they apply for NAPCO.
Let's see.
If I've been given financial clearance and I'm a graduate teacher or I have a diploma, whatever, a certificate, AHC, whatever it is, and I've been given financial clearance and yet my posting has not come since 2014, and now I'm expected to apply for NAPCO. How does that fit in? What is the essence then and use then of my financial clearance as was given to me back in the day?
No, but Johnny, definitely if you're given financial clearance like in 2013, by now it's expired because there's a limit, there's a cap to it. I think it's a year or 6 months, I'm not sure, but there is a cap. So then automatically, if his posting came today, then they'll have to renew. So technically that person doesn't even you're not in the system. So he or she can go through the NAPCO process, but that's unfortunate.
Why must we subsidize somebody's education and give them allowances, give them financial clearance, and not employ them? Why? Does it make sense?
Not at all.
Because all the money we spent, we could have added some more beds to the emergency department at Kolemu.
Right.
okay, paying somebody's half of their fees, giving them allowances and all of those benefits.
Planning.
It doesn't make sense in anybody's book. Whether they are doctors, they are nurses, they are whatever it is, it doesn't make sense.
Very few things do.
But let me quickly, Johnny and I have a good story to tell when I settled down to take a look at what I picked from the 3 northern regions that I visited. But let me quickly this morning greet one great doctor who has made such a decisive decision that I think he needs commendation. Dr. Ibrahim Abbas, he's opted to go and serve in the Dafiema Busie Isa district. They didn't have a doctor for the past 12 years. The district has had no doctor, and he watched that story on TV3 mission and took the decision that he's going to go there and serve. And as I'm talking to you now, he's there in the district. Everything is not in place, but he's there ready to serve. Doctor, good morning. Good morning, Doc. He's a great guy.
Good morning, Doc.
You see you on TV3 News very soon. Such a great guy.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Doc. We're proud of you, and we hope that many of your kind will follow. Doc,
he's not married.
Will he be given a wife? I think the chiefs should give him a wife.
Oh, okay, all right.
Is it
also, government should be doing something to look at.
All the team there in
the good morning to you. We'll take a break. You want to return. There's more here on New Day. There's more.
Right. Thanks so much for staying there. Time to take a look at what's on the front pages of the newspapers. No, you guys at Navrongo watching. Good morning to you all. Oga George and his team. We're grateful. Those of you who are also watching us from Wa in the Upper West region, the Radio Progress guys, we're also grateful for your time with us. But let's check the newspapers this morning. You have seen the front pages already. Daily Guide, Kwesi Botchwey enters NDC race. The Finder, 141,332 were told chase NABCO jobs, 36,000 plus, however, yet to submit the applications. Ghana, we're told, is implementing the ETLO's rulings. CID gets clearance to interrogate Cabo today. Those are some of the stories we'll take a look at. And then the Ghana card registration takes off. Greater Accra is the first region to benefit from that. My guest this morning is a former Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
Morning. Inshallah, we can't complain, particularly in this holy month of Ramadan.
Yeah. You're just about 2 weeks into it now. By the middle of next month, it will be over.
Yes, after that, you have an optional 6 days fasting to do. Yes, but I think that I think I would encourage people to do
that after the whole thing is ended. Yeah. All right. So good morning to our brothers who are in this month. Wish them well. We are with them in spirit, and when they wrap up, we'll be there with them too. Now this one, let's quickly start with this. This story is getting the Daily Graphic has a story that says Anasto report Kwesi Nyantakyi to FIFA. We're told by the story captured on page 16 that Mr. Anas is on his way to Switzerland, where FIFA is based, and he is expected to report Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi to the World Football's governing body. The Daily Graphic has gathered that Anas is on his way to FIFA headquarters in Switzerland to deliver the petition. The issues beyond Ghana. A source close to the investigations told the Daily Graphic just a little portion of the video features Ghana. It is an international operation and will be handled as such. That is the story. But take also a look at the Ghanaian Times this morning. There's a story on page 11. Nyantakyi's claims, be careful of spurious allegations. That's the president reacting there. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has reacted to critics making capital of the claims by the GFA boss, Kwesi Nyantakyi, that the president can be induced with money to influence his decision. Mr. Nyantakyi, in an investigative documentary yet to be aired, sort of armed the president's opponents with what they adduced is a fair idea of what President Akufo-Addo has turned the presidency into. In the secretly recorded video, we're told that GFA boss is said to have suggested to potential investors, you know the story well, that he has the president in his pocket and that the president needs 5 million. His deputy needs 3 million. others some amount of money. So that's a story there. Comrade, let's start from here. The president is asking us to be careful about certain allegations. Anas, we're told, is on his way to FIFA to report the issue. Now, we are yet to see the full video, but this issue is gaining a lot of ground. Is there really a way we can find out what will happen to this issue and the president reacting and warning people against certain allegations?
Well, let me say good morning to your good self and good morning to your cherished viewers and, of course, the good people of Nanton constituency. And also take the opportunity to wish them Ramadan Kareem, that we uphold the principles and the teachings that this month comes with, and pray and hope that our prayers shall be answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quickly, I think that there is an attempt by the super incompetent MPP communicators and the compromised section of the Ghanaian media to put a defense, for the president on the basis of victimhood and all these issues. And I think that the more they do that, the more the issues become murkier. If you listen to the narrative today, there is a suggestion that Mr. Nyantakyi never even mentioned that he had the president in his pocket. And this outrageous and preposterous position is being pushed on the throat of the people of this country by a section of the compromised, media, the extent to which they want us to believe that such a thing was never said. If such a thing was never said, on what basis did the president refer the matter to the CID? If indeed the president's name was not mentioned, why would the president refer the matter to the CID? There is no denying the fact that the president's name was mentioned. There is no denying the fact that Mr. Nyantakyi boasted that he had the president in his pocket. There is no denying that fact.
But there's a piece of the video we have seen.
Yes, there is no denying the fact that he also boasted that he had the vice president in his pocket. There is also no denying the fact that he said that if you give the president $5 million and the vice president $3 million, you have your way. There is also no denying the fact that he boasted that Kabu's appointment was as a result of his influence, and that for him, Kabu wouldn't have been appointed the deputy minister for roads. And I think for me that is extremely worrying. It's shocking that in the eyes of this fantastically, outrageous allegations of corruption against this government, section of the clergy is in a complete state of incommunicado. I mean, it's shocking that the media section. Can I finish?
Could Mr. Nyantakyi be lying about what he can do? Is that one of the president? Perhaps he might have said it, but the president says they are allegations. So until it is proven, could Mr. Nyantakyi be lying just to make him a big man in
every corruption issue is an allegation until it is proven and tested by a competent court of jurisdiction through a prosecution. So the president should give us a break when he tries to tell us that we should not talk about this because of the allegations. He won the elections in 2016 on the basis of such outrageous and preposterous allegations of corruption he led against the NDC, allegations that never had any basis. By the way, the Minister for Justice and Attorney General had written an opinion to the Minister of Energy and indicating to them that there was nothing wrong with Ameri. The president made a whole lot of politics out of it. The candidates, every single MPP communicator said the NDC was like. In fact, they accused President Mahama of engaging in a fraudulent deal in the matter of Ameri. Now, their Minister for Justice and Attorney General herself is saying that there was nothing wrong with that. Will there be an opportunity for President Nanado and his Vice President and the entire MPP to apologize to President Mahama and all those who serve in his government who were summarily, described as corrupt? So I think that the President should give us a break. You see, I said this and I was repeated, that the media, particular section of the media, and the MPP communicators, and the hypocritical section of the clergy and civil society, they can wash this president with all the perfumes in Arabia. They can wash the vice president with all the perfumes in Arabia. They will still be smelling corruption because it is
They are not allegations?
Well, I am saying that every issue of corruption is an allegation. So as far as it stands now, we have Mr. Nyantakyi is not just an ordinary person. He is seen as one of the financiers of the MPP. They haven't denied that. As a matter of fact, on My Joy TV, you had a good friend of Mr. Nyantakyi who said that, look, when President Nanado won the elections in 2016, He called 10 people, the first 10 people he called. Mr. Nyantechi was one of them. You remember when MPP won election, Mr. Nyantechi boasted and said that they were living in hell under the NDC. Of course, you certainly would live in hell under the NDC because you could not have President Mahama and Vice President Emisata in your pocket. As we sit today, we do not know who else pockets the president is in. But let me state this point very clearly. Look, all this attempt to cover up one wash, you have a leading member of the NPP in the person of Mr. Kennedy Japan, who sat on TV and accused every single body who works at the Flagstaff House. He said, if you are an NPP member, before you can have access to the president, you have to pay $20,000 to $30,000. Now, this was an accusation that brought to disrepute the sanctity of the office of the president. He was accusing the president, he was accusing the vice president, he was accusing the chief of staff and his 2 deputies, and any other person who works at the Flagstaff House. The president didn't see the need to ask the CID to investigate Mr. Kennedy Japan. You have the cash for seat, in which the office of the president once again was accused for taking money to have people have access to the president. The president didn't see the need for the deputy minister indeed to be investigated. My good friend Pius, the former deputy minister for youth and sports, the same allegation. The president didn't see the need. The reason why the president
to get off his
I'm saying he didn't see the need to ask the CID to arrest them. Now the impression is created as if no, this has to do with the president. Look, I have said on this program, and I'll say it again, I didn't see anything much wrong with Anas making the video, this section of the video available to the president. You are talking about the sanctity of the office of the president.
Right.
When you have a football chief who could say that he has the president and the vice president in his pocket, we all ought to be worried as citizens of this country. So Anas making the video available to His Excellency the President, I personally do not see anything wrong with it. Because look, if they say that the president, you have done this, we need to make it available. The only thing is that Anas must not renege in his responsibility to expose all those involved in it. I mean, is it not shocking?
You
that
suspect that some
is it not shocking? Some have even suggested that they could doctor the
will
tip.
Finally come out.
But you see, my understanding is that BBC has a copy. That's my understanding. The BBC has a copy. So it is in the interest of even those who have the intention to tamper with the tape not to do so, except that you tell us that they can influence the BBC too. And it is in the interest of Anas also. I have no doubt in the integrity of Anas. I know him too well. He was my very close friend. We were mates for 4 years. We have done a lot of things together. And I know Anas to be a person who is very independent-minded. And I know him as from level 100 up to level 400. So I don't think that Anas would want to compromise under any circumstance. But these suggestions that have been made by that compromised section of the media, I think it won't wash. Could you imagine this allegation or these things being happen under President Mahama, even when there were not evidences, when there wasn't a bucket of evidence of corruption against President Mahama administration? These were the kinds of things they did. I asked myself, where is former President Rawlings? I asked myself, in the eyes of all these allegations, I'm wondering whether probity and accountability, which he touted, and for which reason young people like myself and many other people eulogize and follow and still respect him. I'm wondering where he is.
So he's in a complete, all of them should come out on
he is in a complete state of incommunicado. He's not even talking. But at a time,
won't it be too early for people to come out since the original video is yet to be aired?
Oh, too early? There were not even videos. They accused President Mahama and the NDC for being corrupt. There wasn't any video. There wasn't any evidence. These were just utopian thinking that the MPP people mounted platforms and made preposterous allegations without a bucket of evidence. And that is why I've pointed to one, Ameri. The NDC and President Mahama have been vindicated. I think that President Nanado and his entire government owes President Mahama and all of us an apology. They lammed all of us. They used one brush and said that we were corrupt.
You think there was nothing wrong with Ameri?
If there was anything wrong with Ameri, why would the Minister for Justice and Attorney General, the current Minister for Justice and Attorney General, in the opinion that he wrote, says that there was nothing wrong with Ameri? I'm not the one saying it. We maintain that there was nothing wrong with Ameri. They claim that there was something wrong with Ameri.
So the committee that went and came back and said that there was something fraudulent, the House might have done a very
I think they should even be charged for causing financial loss to the state. that for spending the taxpayers' money, traveling around the world, when they knew that there was nothing wrong with that, because the Attorney General would have had access to the deals and everything. So I'm saying that when they didn't have evidence, so the point I'm making, they can watch President Nanado and the Vice President, Dr. Baumia, with all the perfumes in Arabia, they will still be smelling corruption, because there isn't any doubt at all about this. So what we simply say, that the people who were the loudest of the loud should speak out. This government is not only corrupt, it's fantastically corrupt.
Let me
conclude on this. Look, when we talk about corruption, some of us have stated our position, and people know our position on the issues of corruption. This government didn't start corruption. I have never said that President Nanado and Vice President Baumia invented corruption. The only problem is that they have perfected it.
Let me ask you before I introduce my second guest. You haven't, I'm not sure you have seen the video, but the suggestion is that Mr. Yantechi never said that the president and the vice president were in his pocket in the video. Have you seen the video and Mr. Yantechi saying that?
And what did he say in the video?
Well, we're told that he didn't say that.
Why?
We're also not told exactly what he said.
It took them almost a week to come out to say that he never said that.
I'm grateful. My second guest is just in. John Kuma is the Chief Executive of the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program, a member of the NPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
I'm doing well.
Thanks for joining us. And we had already started the conversation. The president has a story in the Ghanaian Times where he's asking people to be careful about spurious allegations. He's reacted to critics making capital of the claims by the GFA president that he can be induced with money to influence his decision. The president said we should be careful about spurious allegations. That's a warning from the president, or a caution. How should we take it?
Well, let me say good morning to your viewers. The president's statement is very clear. This is a statesman who has openly declared that he's not corrupt, he's never been corrupt. And indeed, Ghanaians attest to the fact that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is not corrupt. And sometimes, of course, people can, in their attempt to throw mud at people with integrity, would want to concoct all kinds of stories. I have not seen the video, but the way my brother Mutala is shouting this morning and saying, those who shouted, I don't know anybody shouts better than Mutala. I have not seen the video. Mutala has not seen the video. I don't know if he's seen it.
You don't have any idea of what Mr. Yantechi said?
I don't.
At all?
Except what you have reported, the media, for me to hear.
Okay.
And I know Mutala will be in the same level with me, but he's talking with conviction as if he has seen the video.
But you're sure the president might have seen something that might have moved him to make a report to the CIA?
Yes, the president has seen the video, according to Kwaku Baako and Co. As part of the documentary, they needed the reaction of the president. So I'm sure he has seen the video, and he has taken the necessary steps for everybody to see that he does not countenance corruption in his government.
But we can conclude that what the president saw would not have been a positive thing.
Obviously, obviously not. Right. And so far, Akwasi Nyantakyi has been called by the CID for investigations. Let's all await the outcome of the investigations. And, you know, this Anas matter, you know, he did parliament undercover. We are told that that video was never shown. So we, and this is number 12.
Who said it was never shown? I have no idea if anything like that happened. The
well,
Tiger Eye said,
they
said they won't show the video?
They haven't shown it up till now.
Okay,
it was supposed to be number, this is number 12.
Right.
Where's number 10 and number 11?
Okay, all right. So you think there's number 10, there's number
yes,
10?
No, but how did he get number 12 without the 10 and 11?
Well, I'm thinking football players 11 and so 12 is just something.
Okay.
That's my thing.
All right, anyway. So people also have concerns about how some of these things are done. We need to know. He must also live above board, that you cannot be citing people for all kinds of issues and you yourself, you get to get compromised on some of the videos that or the undercover things that you do. Indeed, if he did, and we all heard that there was something about parliament that was coming. It never came. So we need to know that one too. in order to justify what he's also doing.
Do you then feel, as Murtala fears, that the official documentary could be doctored finally on June 6th?
Why not?
If what you're saying.
He himself, I mean, anytime he comes out with this video, he tells us of things that happen that are not on the video. For instance, you remember the judges. We never saw the judges that refused the bribe in the video. But he came out with a statement commending some of the justices for refusing to accept those bribes. So why didn't he show us those with integrity and how they went about refusing the bribes? When he went to the ports to do his investigations, we were told, or we heard, that he was arrested and put in cell for 2 days because some of the officers refused the bribe and actually reported him. But because it was with support of government at the time, he was released and he continued. But when the video came, all those portions were edited.
Right.
So we have to have a complete picture about this whole ANAS project, so that as a country we all learn the lessons from. We must also learn the lessons.
So they remain allegations.
Yes, they all remain
Murtala
allegations.
thinks that every corruption issue starts from the allegations, and so if this was what the president is saying isn't anything that we must take serious.
No, but what has the president said? He
said
said that we
be
should be careful.
about spurious allegations.
Yes, because people can make all kinds of allegations about individuals.
And he claimed, for instance, that your government, then in opposition, mentioned, for instance, that Mary is a fraudulent deal, and yet today he says it is not.
Who said it's not?
Mr. Murtala said it's not.
Well, that's Murtala's word.
Okay.
But there are bases why people thought that Mary was not a good deal.
So there were allegations.
You see, the whole problem about the cost of Mary and its implications on us as a country, vis-a-vis what it sought to do for us. I think a lot of people question the economic benefits.
Was there anything wrong with Mary?
Well, as far as some of us were concerned, we thought that it was too expensive, because Mary at the time was 500 and something million. And the open market price for such power badge was about 250, and people came with evidence to compare.
So there was corruption in there?
Well, I wouldn't call it corruption, but people thought that, well, whether it's corrupt, well, it depends on how. People thought it was corruption. If you could get it for less, why do you get it for high?
Okay.
So no problem, but the fact is that I mean, you can fly Ethiopian airline first class at $200 and then fly the same first class airline Emirates for 5,000, let's say for $500. So it depends on where you are buying from. People may question where you bought it from. It doesn't mean they're accusing you necessarily of benefiting from it directly. You understand? So, of course, we are all entitled to question basis of decisions that we make. I mean, if you are a government and you are taking decisions on behalf of the people, the citizens are entitled to question the basis of some of the decisions you are making, and especially in respect of Mary. The problem all the time had not been about production or capacity. We were consistently saying that it's a matter of money. Even if you brought Mary and you didn't have money to power it, like buying diesel and fuel and powering it, how were you going to use it? So we had enough generation capacity, but it was a question of prudent financial management. That was what the NDC was lacking. And we should not bundle all of them together to say
so
that.
So it was not an issue of corruption then. The party was questioning what went into the whole deal, not a matter of someone having taken some money to overprice the whole thing. That's it.
Well, I didn't hear the specific allegation of
we're told that $150 million is gone into somebody's pocket. That was the allegation.
It's gone to somebody's pocket, yes. Or it could have been gotten for less.
Well, we're told it had gone to somebody's pocket.
Well, I never heard that argument. I only heard that it could have been gotten for less. And obviously, people are entitled to make that argument when they know. If you remember the Embraer argument that came under President Mills when President John Mahama was vice president, they went and brought us an aeroplane that could cost $21 million for $84 million. You remember? And people argued that why do we spend so much money for things we could get for less? So you can, then everybody may have their own spin as to how they explain the differences in the cost.
All right.
But it still remains that the same badge could have been gotten for less.
For less.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Very quickly. First and foremost, I am surprised. You see, it's the mouth that lies, but the heart knows the truth. He himself, John Kuma, on several platforms, cited Ameri as one of the justification for the preposterous allegations of corruption they made against him.
On
yes,
platforms?
You see, can I finish? I listen to you.
I'll give
I listen to you.
Okay.
I'm saying that
he's pointing. I'm sure he met you at on
made references. Why? So you believe what he's saying?
No, I'm saying that he met you. So when he finishes,
he himself made references.
Mutala,
when? I listened to you.
When and where?
On several platforms.
No, but I will not sit here for you to lie about me. I have told you the instances where we referred to Ameri.
You see, I listen.
We referred to, but I will not sit here for you to lie about things I have not done. Okay, John, you please let him finish.
Look,
he's only trying to say that he's heard you.
One thing I just...
I'll get you the chance.
One thing I observe about the MPP is that these days they get extremely angry, even when you point out the ills and the rot in the system. That is occasion. That is precisely what you're doing. I listen to you.
He's not angry.
You see, when he came here,
he's smiling.
Hold on. He made a statement in reference to me, which was a complete lie. I never even used shouting. I never said anybody is shouting throughout my discussions. And you're in public can attest to that.
Really? So you want
I never used the word. Yes, I never used
those
the word.
Those who shouted loudest, you didn't use that expression.
You see, hold on. You see,
you didn't use that expression. I sat here when you used that expression.
Tell me.
Let's move on.
Tell me you didn't appreciate the point I was making.
What point were you making?
What I said was that if you look at those who indeed were talking about NDC's allegations.
You didn't say talk.
Can I finish?
You didn't say talk.
John. Please, you know these things I can do them. It doesn't help your cause.
Whose cause?
It doesn't. It doesn't help your cause. By the way, the allegations, the fact that Ameri wasn't a corrupt deal, I'm surprised he doesn't know. The Minister for Justice and Attorney General has written an opinion to that and concluded that there was nothing wrong with Ameri. You are still living in Kuku Hill.
Why?
The Minister for Justice and Attorney General, you are not aware.
If he says there's
nothing
wrong,
hold on.
The investigations they have done, what is wrong with the cost that people raised?
Oh, please. Whether the cost,
does it justify the fact that you could have gotten it for less?
Why? If people raise issues about the fact that the cost is higher,
doesn't necessarily mean
hold on, please. And
it stands on your judgment as
part
a
of the reasons. Part of the reasons which your government spend the taxpayers' money to travel around the world to investigate to find out whether indeed Ghanaians were shortchanged. And you sit here and you are telling me it is about cost and not corruption. Thank God you guys announced taking your humble pie. Your president, the current president, then the candidate, accused the NDC for having engaged in a corrupt deal in the matter of Ameri. The running mate accused the NDC. You accused the NDC. Today you want to run away from the very thing.
I still maintain what we said about Ameri. We still maintain what we said about Ameri. We could have gotten it for less. Mutala himself knows that we could have gotten Ameri for less.
John, he said, he's made his point. He said that he heard you.
He won't even allow me
those claims. Perhaps you can
now he knows it's a lie. He knows it's a lie.
So you didn't make any claim. Ameri was...
We made allegations about Ameri, but it was in respect of
course.
No, but I didn't deny that in my speech.
Right.
I rightly stated that we raised concerns about the cost. That we could have gotten it for yes, of course.
Interesting.
We could have gotten it for less.
So it was a cost.
It was the cost that we yes, it was a question of cost at the time.
I was just raising some issues, and you see, he unnecessarily interjects, and I don't think that it helps. If I also want to do that,
let's
we
move
wouldn't.
You don't play Saint here. You interject more than anybody on programs.
At least today, I didn't interject.
It's not your turn. It's not his turn to interject.
Let our viewers get a good conversation.
Now he talks about the fact that there was an investigation in Parliament.
Yes,
and by extension, first and foremost, Anas and Taga, I have never said they did any investigation in Parliament.
Hey, Mutala.
When?
We are all in this country.
When did Anas?
We have heard. If you haven't heard, I have heard.
When?
And I know the public. Public have also heard.
Anas and Taga.
2014.
Hold on.
Yes, 2014.
John, please allow.
We heard it.
Did Anas and Taga?
We all heard it.
If there's anything, I'll come.
Okay. When he's done.
By the way. Parliament is an independent, in fact, it's independent of the executive.
So is GFA.
Hold on. Parliament. So why is the president so interested in asking that the GFA boss should be investigated?
But you haven't seen the video.
So on what basis will he do that?
You have to see the video first.
Now you see what he's trying to do. What he's trying to do is that trying to tell us that there was an investigation that was done by Anas and Tiger Eye in the matter of Parliament.
Of course.
This was a story that was peddled out there.
Of course.
There isn't any evidence Anas or Tiger Eye ever stated that they conducted any investigative piece at Parliament. Even if they did, it is not about NDC or NPP. It is about an independent state institution, one of the arms of government, which include both members of Parliament from both political divides. So it is neither here nor there. We are talking about a matter in which no less a person than the president is accused. If you sit here and deny that the president is not accused, the president's name was not mentioned, then on what basis did the president issue the instruction that the gentleman be investigated?
Okay, but
on what basis? Has the president become the protector of private individuals who have been accused?
But you see, nobody has said the president's name has not been mentioned. Who said that?
In which matter?
In the current matter.
Are you denying that he said that he has the president in his pocket?
Well, I haven't watched the video.
On his program.
I haven't watched the video.
No, he's not. See, why
is Mutala in a hurry?
Family is not here.
Why is he in a hurry to make all kinds of allegations? But you see, the point he makes about Parliament not being NDC and NPP.
It's a public
statement. When the judges NPP and NDC.
It's a public statement.
Is the judiciary not an independent wing of government?
It's a public statement.
I have moved on.
In the matter of Kwame Sifaka, it's a public statement that was made on radio.
Which public statement was that?
Kwame Sifaka made that statement on his program that in the annexes expose that the president and the vice president names have been mentioned.
Oh, okay, that is what you heard.
And I'm saying that, and I'm saying that, right? And I'm saying that, listen to the deputy chief of staff in his response. When people ask why they had to take, the president had to direct that the national security, the CID should. I said, look, Kwame Sifaka sat on his program and mentioned the president.
Okay. So he's done.
And on the basis of that, until such a time, you can't sit here and feign innocence. The president and the vice president are accomplices in this outrageous allegation.
You see,
outrageous
allegations. Just like he does every day.
I am grateful.
They will always want propaganda every day.
John said that he has not seen or heard about it.
I will not talk about it in detail.
So you have not been heard about that statement made on
radio.
The
point he makes about parliamentary investigations, the fact that it's an independent body. Is the judiciary not an independent body?
What has that got to do with it?
Why were their videos shown?
Are you John,
yes, we are trying to justify why. Even if it was
John Kuma,
I have to put it on record that we are told that
I'm questioning the integrity of Anas.
John Kuma,
I know Anas.
John Kuma.
So what?
You can't question.
Gentlemen, can we move on? John, let me ask you a final question.
No, it's not.
John.
So did Anas? Well, you know I was in class with him.
Exactly, and I was in class with him.
So what's your beef?
Why do you now sit here?
So why? Let's ask
question
the work he's doing. Why is his integrity?
That's what you are doing.
Comrade.
So did he?
I'm putting off your microphone for now.
John,
let me ask you.
And you cannot question why people
John Kuma, let me ask you this. John.
What's your evidence? Oh, don't sit here and talk about evidence. Where is the evidence? Have you watched the video that you are talking about?
John Kuma, finally before I move on.
Finally before I move on. This one today says
John.
Who said this fake?
Kweku Bako.
He
said there's no video out.
Kweku Bako is not Tiger Eye.
He's the boss of Tiger Eye.
He doesn't own Tiger Eye.
Gentlemen, I am grateful. Your microphones are off. Your microphones are off. So, all right. Okay. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll move into another issue. Stay with us here. We're taking a look at the newspapers. You guys watching us from Navrongo and Wa Radio Progress, Ibrahim, we're grateful for your time with us. Now, let's jump to Daily Graphic this morning. Ghana card registration takes off. Greater Accra is the first. And Daily Graphic says that Greater Accra is starting this morning, and we will spend 3 months here in Greater Accra. Other regions, Ashanti has 2, other regions have 1. John, let's start our conversation from here. Okay. Perhaps there are reasons why Greater Accra should be first, but there are some concerns that perhaps we could have taken this to some other region to begin.
Yes, well, I don't know why anybody would want to show concern if it's Greater Accra. First of all, it's the capital of the nation.
Right.
it has a greater number of population. I mean, in terms of population, I think it's the leading region in the country. And
some said it's not, but Ashanti and others have more people than Greater Accra. I don't know.
Really?
True that. Yeah.
Well, I think Greater Accra, yes, is very populous. But whatever it is, what's important is that every region will have their share. And every citizen will have the opportunity to be registered as a citizen of Ghana. We must encourage people to take part in this exercise. Ghanaian likes last minute rushing to take advantage of a process. So please, starting today, let every Ghanaian go out there, especially those of us in Greater Accra. They said they will spend 3 months here, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait till the 3rd month before you take opportunity to go and register. You need your passport or your birth certificate. And I'm told in the absence of that, a relative or a certain number of people can go and identify you and you'll be registered. So let's start the process. I'm sure the reason why maybe they gave more time to Greater Accra is because this is where they are starting from. Apart from the numbers, the region that you commence from, there may be initial hitches that you could avoid them in the other regions where you go to. So hopefully that's the reason. But if it becomes necessary to add more time to any particular region, I believe they will be open to accept such situations to work on them. What is important is that the opportunity has come finally. I mean, we have all been waiting for the opportunity to be issued with ID cards that identify us as a Ghanaian. And then also the kind of data that all institutions can run to and be assured that dealing with Kwakumenu with this ID card is definitely Kwakumenu and somebody traceable to this address. And you see, it goes beyond just being issued with an ID card. I think it has more benefits in terms of the usage of the data and how even other institutions are now being co-opted to also use the data. So everybody should take advantage of this national ID card and be part. Make sure you have your card, whether you are a child or a grown-up or whatever. This card is so critical. I mean, it is becoming a law, or it has become a law that without a card, it may be very, 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 very difficult for you to, do a number of things in the country after we finish with the issuing of the cards. So this is very important. This is what will identify. And it's not, I mean, if you go to Cote d'Ivoire and some of the Francophone countries, without your card, identity card that define you as a citizen, it will be difficult to do so many things. And I'm sure gradually, we as a country are also getting there, where now when we say you are a Ghanaian, without your passport, you'll be able to, I mean, those in EU, they have the EU card.
Right.
And if you are a citizen of the EU, just without a card, with the card alone, you could travel anywhere within Europe without even a passport. So that ID card is so critical to define who you are as a citizen, your entitlements, and your location. Now, it will also help with the cost of doing business in the country, because we are told that one of the factors for risk assessment by the banks in this country is the lack of proper addresses and identification of individuals who apply for loans. They give them the loan today, the next day addresses have changed, IDs have changed, and you can't even trace people to the documents they provided. But with this kind of digitization and the ID system that we are providing, it will be extremely difficult to fake your identity. It will be difficult. And it will be easier for institutions to cross-check your background and know who you are and where to locate you and all that. So I think that I want to take the opportunity to encourage everybody to go out there in their numbers, especially those of us here in the regions. I'm told from here they will enter Volta.
Right.
And then they'll go through the 3 northern regions before they come to B, Ashanti, and Central and Eastern. So let's all try and watch out for the timetables on when the national identification cards will reach our regions, so that we can fully participate and make sure that we are identified as Ghanaians with the ID card.
Okay, I'm grateful. Comrade, let me quickly chip in this. No, if you look at the Greater Accra 3 months, Ashanti 2, Then he put the rest of the regions 1 month each. Now, particularly in the three the three regions of the north, is 1 month okay? I have just returned from there, where I went to a village in the morning at 9 o'clock. On my return at 4, I couldn't come because a river there had gotten filled up, so we had to spend the night in the village. Now, 1 month there, is this workable? You are from the Savannah area.
Well, let me see that to a very large extent, I agree with John in the matter of every single citizen taking the exercise serious, as long as it captures those who are supposed to be citizens of this country. I have a little problem with the directive that is given by the authority that you need to register with a passport and birth certificate. That in itself, for me, if it is going to be limited, that to be a violation of the law describing who is a citizen, because the law is explicit. You don't, at no point in time did they even give emphasis to birth certificate and passport. We also live in a country where we know that there are a lot of foreigners who, by dint of some machinations, indeed have Ghanaian birth certificates and passport. So you may have a Ghanaian who has never held a passport, who has never had a birth certificate, particularly in the rural areas. A lot of the old people don't even have birth certificates. They don't even know their actual dates of birth. So if such a person comes to register and say, because you don't have a birth certificate, you don't have a passport, and perhaps you do not have somebody to stand in and testify that you are a citizen of this country, you may be denied your right. You can have a Nigerian or a Togolese or an Ivorian who happen to have arranged through fraudulent means to acquire a Ghanaian passport to come and would go through the process without much difficulty. So I think that they need to look at it. If you look at the laws that talks about citizenship, even if you are married to a Ghanaian, you're married to a Ghanaian, and that person pay the processes that are entailed by Parliament, such a person can be a Ghanaian, even after the death of the person through whom he or she acquired his or her citizenship. After the death of the person remains a citizen of this country until such a time he or she renounces that citizenship. There are a lot of explanations and how a person can become a citizen. So they need to take a second look at it. Are they
required ID cards?
ID. I agree also that, as from my background as a development plan, I know John to be an economist. I think that it helps properly even in planning, that you are able to have an accurate data, or at least seemingly accurate data, of the number of people you have in your country who are citizens, who are foreigners. My understanding is that there will also be a card for those who are not citizens. Yeah. You know, there will be a card also distinguishing those who are citizens and who are not citizens. It helps in planning. It helps in planning for socio-economic development. It also helps even in maintaining security. It helps in recruiting people even to the security agencies. It helps a lot to a very large extent. Now, you also be able to tell the ages, because I believe that the age would have been provided. You know those who fall within the economic active group and those who do not. And that can help in projections and what you do. As to the number or the period given for the regions, I agree with you. If you look at the northern region, for example, if you want to travel from one end of northern region to another, it takes you a whole day. If you go to Bunkpurugu and you want to travel from Bunkpurugu to, let's say, Sola, it will take you a whole day. The roads are also not more trouble. Sometimes the difficulty engaged in having access. To that extent, I think that one would raise some concerns about the period given. But I shudder to think that even after this exercise, there may be an extension as long as many people are not captured. What we can only say is that let's do this with clear mind. Nobody should, under any circumstance, think that they can use it for any political gratification. It's an exercise that we need to. But I think that the cost is also fantastically, and scandalously expensive. If you look at the amount of money,
the previous and now?
Yes, it's scandalously expensive. It's ranging billions of dollars.
But you don't have the details as to what is going into.
But it's ranging billions of dollars, and I'm saying that if it is about I'm told about 1.2 billion.
Right.
Dollars. And I mean, it's just scandalous. Where are we going to get that money?
You do not know what is into. What is going to happen?
No, it doesn't.
So how do you
it doesn't matter.
Scandalous?
No, it is. It doesn't matter.
Because there could be the reason why we're paying that much.
It's scandalously expensive. It doesn't matter whatever is going to be in it. The bottom line is that it is about capturing the data of citizens of this country. And now, the question also has to do, where are we going to get the resources? I haven't been told, and I don't think that you have, perhaps join us, that we're going to get even funding internationally for it. I mean, assuming that we're even going to take a loan to undertake such an exercise, I mean, how are we going to pay it? Over $1.2 billion. That is huge. How much is even our budget, you know, our entire GDP constitute how much?
It is worth it, but how to get it?
Yes, it does. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that it is important that we have some of this data. And the question then is do we have other ways by which we can capture the same data, you know, without necessarily paying this? And it brings back to the question he was raising, that if you take Ethiopian Air and you pay $700, for example, from, let's say, here to Saudi, and you take Emirates, you pay $1,500. They certainly can't be the same. The services that you may get in Emirates, you may not get the services with Ethiopian Air. So I think that there is a need for something to be done about it. The scandalous nature of it has to do with whether we have the capacity. I have
issues with you saying it is scandalous.
Oh no, it is.
Since you do not have the detail, you want to say that it is too huge.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I believe he won't. I believe he won't. He won't.
You see, he won't challenge reverse of the Ameri argument.
Is a cost scandalous?
The tables have turned on this argument.
Is a cost scandalous?
The
John, is a cost scandalous?
Right, the difference is that I haven't said it's corruption. You said Ameri was corruption.
You are putting words in our mouth.
I am wrapping up the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Is this scandalous?
Well, I won't use that word. But seriously, it's a bit expensive.
Okay.
But
a bit.
Oh yes, it is expensive. But I think the arrangement is both private sector participation and then government also raising about 600 something million.
What private sector?
I don't have the details, but I think it's not government wholly paying the 1.2. But whatever it is, like I told him, we are all entitled to raise questions about cost. If there's an alternative,
so
why not?
You don't conclude and say corruption. You guys said
we said it was.
I'm grateful for your Monday morning. Of course, John Kuma is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program. Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is a former Deputy Trade and Industry Minister. We're grateful you stayed there with us. IB from Radio Progress and your team, thanks for watching. Oga George and your team from Navrongo, also thanks for watching. Those of you who are watching us from Bongo, we're also grateful. Stay with us. There is more on this platform.
Welcome back and thank you very much. About a year ago, tomorrow that will be, we had a very sad story from Dentro Boase, the gruesome murder of Major Maxwell Mahama. 1 year down the line, what are the lessons that we can draw from it? We've already shown you some snippets of videos from Dentro Boase, New Boase, where Komlak Luche and the rest of the team were out there checking out what the mood and feeling is like ahead of the 1 year commemoration. We'll take a look at that, but I've been joined by father of the deceased military man, a gallant soldier, Captain Dennis Mahama Adam, retired. Captain, welcome. Good morning. Thank you very much for your time. And also, Michael Mahama is brother to the late. Welcome, Mike. How are you doing? And Reverend Felix Fofo is here as well. Thank you very much for your time. Let's take a look at Komlak Luche's story. He went to New Obuasi. Take a look at this. We'll return shortly with the conversation.
An early morning, but the village center of New Obuasi is already buzzing with activity before the locals leave for their farm. For Murphy seizes the opportunity to sell donuts, which she has done for almost 2 decades. 60-year-old retired soldier Isaka Suleiman is up from bed and readies himself for the farm.
Isaka, tell me, you have 3 wives.
The senior one is a seamstress. The one following the seamstress is a hairdresser. And the third one is a business woman.
You are a big man, you are a big man.
We began a journey of 20 miles into his 2-acre farm. Saka narrates where he was on the day Major Mahama was killed.
The whole town was empty. I was left alone with my junior sister in the house. I made my families to leave to Dunkwao. But then...
How did you survive yourself?
Okay, I was always in the room. I don't come out. I come out once in a while.
But did they meet you? When the soldiers came, did they meet you?
They meet me. They meet me, but they told me to be in the room. And if it's anything, I cook in the room, eat in the room there, urinate in the room there. So it wasn't easy.
A death that shook the nation, with a battalion of soldiers and police storming the otherwise unknown town of Dintra-Obuasi, always called New Obuasi. The accused persons are still on trial, and there are calls from some quarters from the military who will not go on record demanding the erection of a statue in remembrance of the slain soldier.
The statue being there, to me, is very, very good. So anytime, even their grandchildren should come out, they should deliver, and then come to the town, they will know that, yes, my old man has done this before.
Please leave us alone. We are afraid. Our children will even run when they see it. Fear has gripped us. The events linger on. Erecting a statue, that is pressure on us.
With
the statue, you recall the body. When we see his body, fear will grip us. This is the spot where Major Mahama died. He finally gave up his life somewhere around this point, exact location in the gutter here where he lost his life. There's been talk about the erection of a monument of the sort, but there's been a divided opinion on it as to whether the family will agree or not. It's 1 year that has not been decided yet, but members of the community, some say it is not necessary because the memory still lives on or still lingers on, and they think that the mother should die is natural death, inasmuch as it is in court now for judgment yet to be given. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, New Obuasi.
And in studio we're here with me is the father of the late Major Maxwell Mahama, Captain Dennis Mahama, retired. Mr. Michael Mahama, who is a brother, and Reverend Felix Forfoy is here. Chief, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Let me start with you, Captain. 1 year down the line, what's been running through your mind? How's the family coping?
Well, actually, it's almost 1 year now since we've been carrying the load and the burden of pain and anguish from the death of my son. It's been very difficult, especially for the wife and the mother. I myself not left out, the whole family. And surprisingly, it's not even the family alone, because of the calls that I get, the goodwill messages I get from even some people I don't know, you know, sending condolences and trying to cheer us up with prayers and all that. And so it's been a very difficult one. We've come 1 year full the line.
You've talked about the family, the wife and the children. I know that a fund was set up, the Major Maxwell Mahama Fund. The president put in an initial 50,000, subsequently Parliament okayed it. What is the state of it? Do you know? Are the children benefiting?
Well, it's been very good. It's been very, very good. So far, the Parliament has passed that bill, and the government has done a lot in that direction. And so we are most grateful.
Are you comfortable? Is the family comfortable?
Sure, we are very comfortable. We are very comfortable with the government support.
You're okay with the plan to see them through? Because if Major Maxwell Mahama was alive, he would take the responsibility.
That's right. That's right. We are happy. We are happy, and so far, we are very grateful to the government for all the support.
Mike, let me come to you. So you are a direct brother of Mr. Mahama. How are you coping 1 year down the line? You have nephews and nieces to take care of.
Yeah, losing a loved one is not easy. But ever since May last year, family and friends have always been there for us, you know. Over the months, they've always contacted us and supported us, you know, with prayers, visiting, and at least giving us the morale, you know. It's been really difficult, but with God and family, friends, and other sympathizers, we are here today, and we are much better than we were.
Do we have any activities to commemorate the 1 year anniversary?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Captain, you want to shed light on that?
Yes, that's right. But just for correction, my son died as a captain, but
was elevated.
He's been elevated thanks to the president to a major.
Right.
So I would wish that we refer to him as Major Mahama. Like the president said that day, we are no more talking of Captain Mahama. We now talk about
I keep
Major
calling
Mahama.
him Major.
That's right. That's the correct rank for him.
Right.
You know, in the army, we don't joke with our ranks.
As a barracks boy.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Well, the anniversary funeral is almost arranged, and everything is in place. On the 29th, which is tomorrow, is the day that he fell. The family will attend the church service starting from 6:30 a.m. at the St. Catherine Catholic Church in Burma Camp.
Right.
And from there, we'll proceed to the cemetery and lay reef. We will then return to Arakan Officers Mess and have our own deliberations until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when we'll move to Airport Hills Runabout. The purpose is to attend the salt cutting ceremony for the erection of a monument in his honor, which has been approved by the government as promised during the funeral. So for tomorrow, that is the program. The main funeral service will be on Sunday, 3rd June. On 3rd June, we will be at the same place, St. Catherine Catholic Church in Burma Camp, and it starts from 8 a.m.
Okay, all right. Great.
We hope. Should I haven't finished?
Yes.
So we hope that it will end around 10, 11, and then we'll move to the Arakan Officers Mess for the funeral gathering. And that will be where a lot of things will take place.
I thank you very much. Reverend, let me come to you now. So as a result of this, we formed the Ambassadors Against Mob Justice. What is it?
Ambassadors Against Mob Justice is an organization formed by ordinary Ghanaians. It was started by a lady from Rainbow Radio called Gifty Abankwashi. She's supposed to be here with us, but she's right now speaking at New FM. We've come to realize that most of the times when things happen, people just take the laws into their own hands and then start meting out justice to people. That was not the attitude of Ghanaians before. We don't know where it started from, and we don't know the reason, but we think it's not right. The law enforcement agencies are there. If somebody commits an offense, the right place to take the person to is to the law enforcement agencies. And so we decided to come together to educate Ghanaians by telling them that we are brothers. We've lived together. Our generations have lived together. We are still living together. We still leave this land for our generations to come. We must live in peace. We are all religious. We are Muslims. We are Christians, other religions, and I don't think any religion allows mob justice. Any religion allows murder of a fellow human being. So that's what you're preaching, that we must end mob justice. We must end mob justice. Let's take the people to the law. The law enforcement agencies, the police, and we go to court. If the person is found to be culpable, then justice takes its course.
Have you been happy with the trial so far of the perpetrators of Major Maxwell Mahama's death?
I have not been happy.
Why not?
I think it's taking too long. Normal investigations in this our country sometimes delay. Well, investigations takes time sometimes, but such things efforts must be put in so that people can realize that, look, when we take our cases to the police and to the court, it is handled with time. It brings that pain.
Okay.
Okay. It would have taken part of the family's pain away.
Captain,
yes.
Do you feel sane?
Yes.
Have you been happy about how the trial has traveled?
Yes. Okay. Before I go to that, let me explain a little bit further or add a little bit to what
we don't have a lot of time.
Okay.
So,
Right. Well, the criminals are in court, or should I call them suspects? They are in court.
Yes.
And so we just have to leave it at that.
Have you been happy with the way the trial has progressed?
I cannot be happy, but frankly speaking, I'm not happy. Because when I attend court and I hear the line of action of defense counsels, it just beats my mind. It beats my mind. I say, what are you trying to mean by these questions and all those things? But, well, it's the law. I'm okay with that.
Thank you very much. So we have the Ambassadors Against Mob Justice. We're grateful for your time, Reverend Fofwe. We're grateful for your time. To Captain Mahama, may God give you a very big heart, so you're able to father the rest of the family. I wish you all the best. And to Michael Mahama, thank you very much. And stay by your father and keep your nephews and nieces close together.
Can I say, we need sponsorship. We're asking people to help us.
To do what?
For this group to move on.
Okay.
We need people to help us. We need help from
what kind of help?
Bodies. Anything. Money. Want to print t-shirts for the day.
Okay.
And we have this number here. If you want to send us mobile money.
Okay.
Quickly 0246 08 0907.
Okay.
And the name on it is Mr. Obed Amwa.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sports is up next as we get ready to commemorate 1 full year anniversary tomorrow of the Major Maxwell Mahama. Take a look at this. Welcome back. Let's talk about how to finance inclusive education. And my senior colleague Bright Nanamfo visited the WA School for the Blind. He brings us this report.
Like terms. Like terms. What are they doing?
It is a difficult life, one that is not normal. They are at a disadvantage, but many have landed here. Some can partially see, while others are totally blind. They are here to acquire education, but it is a dream that comes with a lot of difficulty. The children are disadvantaged. The kindergarten classes are worse off. This is what they have. I'm trying to move it around, quite a difficult one. That's not all. They have this one here. This is what we call the swing or the seesaw, if you want to call it that. Not in a very good shape, but this is what they have. But hey, the dangerous of them all, the most dangerous, is this slide here. This is what you see, metal, with a huge hole in here. Kids are supposed to sit on this and slide down. But certainly, this is not an ideal situation. They simply can't use it. And you can see that for days, months, and perhaps years, it has never been used. The playground tells a tale of neglect.
In fact, nothing for them to play with. We really struggle. There's a time they need just to go out like the sighted children, just to play with things like seesaw. The instruments that the sighted people have as KG, but we don't, none is here. In fact, we struggle.
The school has not even given thought to getting the playground fixed due to the challenges with funding for other equally important activities.
Imagine if the person cannot feed, no money to feed such children, then what about their comfortability? So we are still pleading that the government should come into the aid of these disabled people, so that at least they are part of the community, they are part of the society. They can also feel that they are being loved. I mean, so that their life can go on, because some of them complete. For instance, there's a woman there who completed there, and she has come back to teach.
Hundreds of these young ones live on this compound. What will enable them develop themselves is not there.
As they cannot see, without the materials, they will not know the real subject. Even though they will know what you are teaching, but they always want to have the feel of the object, that, or the real thing that you the teacher wants the children to grab. And without the materials, they will be doubting.
Problems in the classrooms also curtail academic work. Teachers speak of great worry. They are special children who need special attention, but that special attention is not forthcoming. In fact, parents have even neglected their own. Over 200 children left in conditions that can retard their development. And so, though they are ready to contribute their quota to developing Ghana, certain conditions threaten their development. As they rehearse to take part in the Independence Parade, there's one thing on the minds of these children at the Wa Methodist School for the Blind, and that is what is told by the officials.
I also inquired how the various assemblies where these children are coming from, because they are coming from all over the country. Some are from Upper East, and the districts, the various district assemblies that support these disabled children in the various districts, the common fund that comes in the name of these disabled people, persons, they call their parents and then they give the monies to them, and they don't give any money. As soon as they put the children in the car and they come, that ends it. So sometimes provisions like soap, like toothpaste and other things becomes difficult for them.
Though lucky they find themselves here, school officials say this should not be the end to supporting the disadvantaged.
Welcome back and thank you very much. That was Bright Nana Amfo's report there. I've been joined in the studio by Jeremiah Bedu Shea. He's with the Special Education Division of the Ghana Education Service. Shea, welcome. Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine.
And also Rose Affairs, a tutor at the Presby College of Education at Kropong, and is a member of the National Education Campaign Coalition. Welcome. Good morning. How are you doing? So we saw the story. You are a trainer of persons with disability.
Yes, please.
How does this turn out to you?
Well, in fact, our major problem is attitudinal discourse. Attitude. And tutors at Presbyterian College of Education, we are doing our best. We have a school for the blind at Kropong, close to us. So sometimes we encourage our students to go there and see things for themselves. And also, we are the only college in Ghana that trains individuals with hearing impairments. So we have various disabilities among the students. So for our students, we are doing enough, but we are doing our best.
This is what is on the ground.
Yes, we are doing our best.
Not what you're doing, this is what is on the ground.
Yes.
What does it say to you?
It's the same at our place, that the parents especially are not concerned about their children. Could you believe that?
Why is that? Why are they not concerned?
Well, in fact, it's difficult to explain, but some have other children without disability. So they think that instead of using my money to take care of those with disability who cannot do anything, why don't I spend rather on those who are able? They are ignorant of the fact that those with disability can also aspire to the highest level.
Shea, how do we bridge the barrier and kick out the discrimination? What's the plan?
I think that there's the need for a lot of sensitization and advocacy. We create the awareness for the parents to know that the children with disabilities can do whatever the regular children can also do in the classroom, provided we are able to give them the enabling environment, teaching, learning materials, create a very conducive atmosphere for them to learn. In fact, when we got this documentary, we visited the place And all the seesaw that you saw, they have been removed from that place. New ones are going to be put there.
Okay.
So if you go there now, they are no longer there.
You won't find these ones?
Yes. No.
Okay.
They are no
so
longer
it means
there.
that you're working
exactly.
at it.
Exactly.
Right.
We made a lot of inroads, and the district assembly are also coming in. The regional directories are also coming to ensure that these things are really put in place.
We spend a lot of money, and I'll come to Madam Mofe to guide me, but we spend a lot of money in training people like this, disadvantaged, and those who will go and train them. We spend a lot of money. How do we factor them into the larger educational system so that the money we spend on them, the time and effort, and in fact their own commitment doesn't go waste?
What we do is, when they complete their training, you see, we those who are able to get to the tertiary level, when they complete their training, in fact, they come back and they are in these schools, they are teaching in these schools. For instance, when you see Ekropon, we have two main schools for the blind, Ekropon and Wa Methodist. But we have some schools in the hearing impaired that are units within the hearing impaired. In fact, we have 4 of them, and we have the deaf blind center too at Mampong and Jamase. In fact, these people are still there. We have personnel there who are supporting these children with special needs all over the place. Yeah.
So say somebody trains at the school in Wa or in Ekropong. Can they be brought to, say, Kanda Estate cluster of schools to come and teach?
Yes.
What is the level of reception?
I can give you a typical example in Accra here. When you go to Gan East. Gan East Municipal, especially Atomic Hills Estate Junior High School, that's basic school. We have total blind person there teaching regular children in the primary school.
Ms. Ofe, they are there. Is this it? Is that the situation?
Yeah, even during my first degree, my supervisor for my research was a blind man.
Wow.
And you can't believe that Presbyterian College of Education, we have trained hearing impaired who has done his doctorate degree.
Wow.
And one currently at University of Cape Coast doing his master's. So they go out there, but the first challenge, as you rightly said,
what are the challenges? Tell me about it.
For instance, we trained one man who had a visual impairment and some form of physical disability. When he went out to teach, the comments that the head who was to receive him passed, in fact, in his presence, was very, very
What was
catastrophic.
this comment?
He said, if I may quote it verbatim in Akan, ye bre na ye peubia beboya shebibibia ye de abraye.
He said that?
Yes.
That when they need helpers, this is the helpless person they brought.
This is what they have brought to them. And you can't believe that this man proved himself. I directed him to go to the Special Education Directorate for a note to be given to the head that he has the potential and he can do better than...
Beyond the note, I'm appalled at this, and I'll come to you, Shea. I'm appalled at this comment. When headmasters or people in authority make such derogatory comments, what happens to them? Beyond the note that the man is capable and can perform, but the woman is capable, do you punish them for discriminating? The Constitution says don't discriminate.
In fact, we do. In fact, that was a very unfortunate comment. Shouldn't have come from an educator. So in normal cases, we normally reprimand them and then further educate them on what to do. I remember one time somebody came for an interview to fill a vacancy in our place. He passed a very uncomfortable comment, and we have to actually disqualify him for that purpose. Yeah.
So it does happen that people are punished. But how are the headmasters oriented to accept people like this who, through no fault of theirs, have a disability?
I think it's just an unfortunate that these things should be happening, because what we do is that we train them, we orient them, we educate them. For instance, in Greater Accra, Ghana East, for instance, have been very fortunate to roll out this inclusive education. So the heads in that district have all been trained and oriented what they should expect, and some of the comments that are very offensive to these groups, and we've educated them. But I think that there's more to be done. There's more awareness that needs to be created. There's more education. We need to keep the pace and not stop somewhere. So I think
you have the final word, Mr. Rose Ofe. So this has a potential of reducing our out-of-school populations.
Yes.
What should be the way forward? You are an educator, you are a teacher yourself.
Yeah, that's why we at Presbyterian College of Education, we have outlined a lot of programs that we educate our students who are to go out there to teach. And we have seen that that's not enough. So we have to go out there. For instance, this guy has proved himself well in that particular school. We also had 2 visually impaired, 1 totally blind and 1 low vision, having first class honor. And we are celebrating our 170th anniversary come June 16th.
Right.
We'll have the Grand Derby, and we are calling all the public to come and see what we can do. The SRC had a SRC week last week, and they did beauty pageant. The one who excelled, who was first, who wore the crown, was a hearing impaired student.
Wow.
So we are telling the public that they have potentials even more than those without. So we are training teachers there to go and implement what inclusive education is.
Thank you very much. Rose Ofe is a tutor at the Presby College of Education. She's also a member of the Ghana National Education Coalition campaign. Thank you very much for your time. And as always, my brother Jeremiah Bedu Shea is with the Special Education Division of the Ghana Education Service. I thank you very much. This conversation has been made possible by, as part of our Mission Ghana initiative, and also brought to you by the European Union, the Star Ghana funding with DFID and Danida as well. Yesterday was a big fat day. 13 weeks culminated into a big fat event at the National Theatre. Talented kids, I'm sure you heard about it. Samuel Owusu, rapper, he was here. He said he was going to get it, and he did. He came, he saw, he conquered. Take a look at this.
The Almighty Lord for giving me this opportunity to express myself in the whole of Ghana. I thank the Almighty Lord, and I dedicate this winning to my sister, Newsrat Ntiwa. Rest in perfect peace.
At that point, before the judges declared a verdict, it was between yourself and Peniel. And what was going through your mind at that crucial moment?
I was a bit nervous though, but with God, all things are possible. So God did the whole thing for me.
And also, we saw you on stage with Sarkodie. He is a celebrated rapper, and a lot of people look up to him. You also look up to Sarkodie. So how was it performing with the rap king, Sak?
It was very enthusiastic. It was very grateful, yeah. To perform with a big superstar like that, I think it's not an easy job.
Right. And the package at stake, 10,000 cedi, you have educational trip, you also have an investment fund to support your education. And when you think about this whole package, the money, the fact that you'll be traveling outside and you're having a whole investment to support it, what does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. Great, very, very, very great.
And yesterday, the National Theatre was agog, a lot of fun out there. My heart was broken. Nelisa Atiogbe, she fought back the eviction with her own tears. But what have the judges been saying? Take a look at this.
And someone who succeeds, DJ Switch, who happens to be season 8 winner of Talented Kids, and Judge Benedict, what informed this very decision, and we realized that it was well accepted by the crowd here.
Samuel has been very consistent since the first episode. It's one person who never,
got near to eviction. And it's stagecraft, it's lyrics, it's content, breath control, everything you want to find in a rapper, it's a professional rapper.
Yeah, and from where I was watching the show, it was a close call, listening to the people around between Samuel Owusu and the bassist.
Like I said, it was a close margin. Technically, Peniel stood out as the best for this season because he's very versatile when it comes to instruments. He could play the piano, he could play the acoustic guitar, he could play the bass. And none of the children that we had this season could do that. However, this is showbiz. In the end, the best had really taken the title.
What informed this verdict from the judge?
Consistency. That's the most important thing in this game. Consistency. From the day Samuel came on the audition right to the end, he was consistent. Always brought different things to his game. So, we saw it was a bit difficult getting to the end because Peniel, there's no other child in this whole group that could play the instrument the way he did. So he made it very tight. Samuel was a performer. He was a professional and all right. For a small boy like that, we had to give it to him.
And that's Samuel Owusu there with his lyrical dexterity. Happy birthday to Ruth Ama Ejewa Abuajua in team. Ruth Ama Abuajua in T here at TV3. Happy birthday to you. And showing 6 packs there. Penel, you're showing 1 pack. Like me. How are you doing, guys? Congratulations. Penel and Hakeem, first and second runner-up. Guys, congratulations to you. Bam.
Thank you.
Bob, congratulations. You told me you were going to win. You didn't win. Why?
We are all winners. It's a competition. Anything can happen at any time. So,
Hakeem, you didn't win, but the fans loved you. Yesterday at National Theatre, we were charged for you. What happened?
Okay, I'm saying that I did my best, but
this is how it ended.
Yeah.
So you're happy with the verdict?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to run by you, yesterday, the winner, Samuel Owusu, who's not been able to join us here yet, he gets 10,000 Ghana cedis from Media General. He gets 15,000 Ghana cedis from First Bank Financial Services. That's an investment package. He gets products from Ballona, Cowbell, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil, Sandra Ice Cream, Indomie Royal Drink, and he gets a trip abroad by the British Columbia College. Penel Dodu, who's a guitarist and multi-instrumentalist, gets 8,000 cedis from Media General, 10,000 cedis from First Bank Financial Services. That's an investment package. He gets products from all our sponsors. And Hakeem Issa is a commander of all the rap you can gather in Ghana. He gets 6,000 Ghana cedis from Media General. He gets products from all our sponsors. And Luther King Band get 4,000 cedis from Media General, and they get products from all sponsors: Ballona, Cowbell, and Apama Cross, Sandra Ice Cream, Indomie Royal Drink. Penel, yesterday your finger works absolutely amazing. What's the next step for you? Now you have become number 2, Talented Kids 2018. What's the next step?
The world is out there for us, and we are going to explore and do great things.
When you say you're going to explore, what are you talking about? Are you recording an album? What are you going to do? Are you forming a band, or what is it?
Yes, something like that.
Okay, tell me. So what's your plan? Tell me. You have a plan. Tell me.
My plan is to be a great musician in Ghana and set music outside Ghana.
Okay,
Africa.
music beyond borders.
Yes,
right.
please.
So that's what you want to do now. I see. Hakeem, what next? Are you recording an album?
Yeah.
You're getting 6,000. What are you doing with your money? You have plans?
Not yet.
You don't have plans?
Yeah, but
okay.
But now I'll bring out my one song.
Okay.
Track.
Oh, you have it. Okay, sing a bit of it. Let me hear.
Okay.
Okay.
Here, from Osei Chrome, Accra back to Cape Coast, Tardy, Accra back to West Coast. I'm into the game to fill the potholes. No wonder, Charlie, my lines are too dope.
I'm enjoying. Why did you cut it, man? So it's out there. The song is, what's it called?
Dance Floor.
Dance Floor.
Google.
Wow.
Can download it.
If you Google it, YouTube, Dance Floor, we can get it.
Yes.
Wow, I like it. Congratulations to you. Pedro, you have 8,000. What are you using it for?
I'm not setting yet.
You're not setting yet, but you know that you have 8,000 and an educational fund as well. I wish you guys all the best, and I'm proud of you. Very, very proud of you. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. So there you have it. The reigning kings, the most talented kids you can find anywhere on the surface of Ghana. 29.6 million people. These are your stars, man. I'm proud of them. Proud of them. The commander of the rappers, and then Peniel, the multi-instrumentalist. He's a wizard on the keyboard, on the bass guitar, on acoustic. And yesterday he tried to whistle as well. We'll take a break here. We'll return. Bright will join us. We'll wrap up the show nice and easy on a Monday 28th. Stay with us. We'll be back. Happy birthday one more time to Ruth Abuajiwa in here at TV3, and also to you, Mrs. Alote and Bubu. I should call you Alale. It's your birthday today, the mother of Gertrude and Patrick. Happy birthday to you as well. We're wrapping up the show. And, interesting. I wish I were a talented kid, you know, competing and getting 10,000, 15,000 put together. Educational fund, you know.
At that age, what do you do with 10,000?
What do you do? They don't know yet. They have not decided yet, you know. Sometimes it's good not to touch the money. I mean, but their trainers have done very well. Very well.
It's good to have people behind them. Let's pray and hope that these are the people who guide them to where we want them to go. Because it's not just about letting people know the talent these young ones have and then leaving them there. So let's see these trainers really guide them to grow and add the other things. I mean, you can play the guitar, but you got to do it and do it well, so that the likes of Clue would have others to
come and battle them.
That's it. So good. Kudos to all of them.
Kudos to all of them, and to everybody who voted, everybody who supported, tweeted. Yesterday, Talented Kids was up on the trends on Twitter. You know, everybody who supported it. And there's more here coming up. I told GMB, Ghana's Most Beautiful, is coming up. It's another different ball game altogether. Ghana's Strongest is also a different ball game altogether. You know, so man, I wish Harriet could go and contest for GMB.
This time,
she's not sure where she comes from, you know. So if the regional auditions start, she will not know whether to go for Upper East or Upper West. She's not too sure what it is.
Harriet, our studio director. All right.
She's not too sure.
Grateful. We're told that it's been raining in the Upper East region from 3 a.m. this morning. All of you guys there, those of you in Navrongo, those of you in Bongo and Bulga, we are grateful for the reception. You know, we told you that as soon as we leave, the rains will start. You know, the farmers had actually prepared their land. They were getting ready.
They were getting ready.
Upper West is now wet. It's been raining there.
Okay.
Upper East is dry.
Okay.
Just when we're leaving, the clouds started showing up. The farmers were ready, their lands, and so every day you see them sitting there looking into the skies,
waiting for the
rains to come.
So, but the witch catcher has left.
Yes,
so
once I left, we're told since 3 a.m. this morning it's been raining.
Wow.
Kudos to God.
I hope it doesn't cause any havoc.
No,
around those
places. They need that to start plowing and then they start planting. So great stuff.
It softens the ground for them.
And Oga George and his team, they're watching us from Navrongo. Okay. They don't miss the show every morning.
Oga George, good morning to you. And to our friends in Tamale, Kaula to all of you.
All great guys
and to
out there.
Navrongo.
And those of you also in Bongo too. Great
Bongo,
guys.
Navrongo, Bolgatanga, Tumu, Wa, Golu, all our places, all the places out there.
All right.
We love you. We'll see you. And I hope that you give the doctor, what's the doctor's name?
Dr. Ibrahim Issa.
Yes, the chiefs should come together and give him a wife. Yeah.
There are two very special people I didn't mention, Stephanie and Ruth. Great stuff.
Stephanie and Ruth.
Yes.
Okay.
Great stuff.
Okay. But they run choba.
They cook very well.
Okay. I almost got the link because you know me and you we have been. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow. Be good. Win. All you do is just win. Stay on top. Okay? We'll see you tomorrow.